You hear about it all the time. For the most part, it's only been going in one direction, up, leading to your pocketbook taking a hit. Here's the breakdown of what inflation is.
So inflation is basically an indicator of the change in average prices, and usually it's in the upward direction. Statistics Canada will measure what they call a basket of goods for households, and they do that by observing and surveying people about the things that they buy. And so then they have this average bundle of goods or basket of products that they monitor. They look at how the price of that basket changes. So it's exactly the same basket every single month that we're looking at. And periodically they go back and survey people to find out how that basket has changed. Inflation will increase, prices will increase on average anytime we have a mismatch between demand and supply. So when there's more demand for something than there is supply of it, we'll see prices start to move up. When the pandemic occurred first back in March 2020, we saw prices actually, the rate of inflation went down quite significantly because people just stopped buying stuff because they weren't moving about the same way, travel was closed off, things like that. Companies reduced how much they were providing, so supply was going down. Now with reopening of economies, demand has picked back up, but supply hasn't picked up as quickly.
It isn't just a little jump. Inflation soared to a 40-year high to 8.1% in June of this year. So let's look at just how much more you're paying for everyday things compared to 1 year ago. Let's start in the kitchen, considered by many to be the heart of the home. But food prices are tough to swallow. Food inflation rates are increasing faster than the general rate of inflation, and no relief is expected soon. Compared to 1 year ago, eggs are up 12%, bread is 17% more expensive, flour has seen a 23% jump. Cooking oils rose by 20%. Pasta is 22% more expensive. Cereal 18%. Chicken increased 10% in price. And fresh fruit went up by 13%. So, what's to blame?
There's lots of instability that we have no control over. We don't control the price of oil and gas, for instance, which is a big component of inflation because it's a big component of our consumption of goods, and it's a big element of production costs as well. Our energy costs are really important in how much it costs to produce foods of different sorts. Also the source, where we source those products from. So where we get olive oil, where we get breads and flours and grains. The other part is that there's political instability, the invasion of Ukraine, that throws another uncertainty into the mix that can affect not just where that's occurring, but global markets as well.
After a long day, supper is done and the kitchen is clean, there's nothing like curling up on the couch to relax. Well, that couch and other furniture in your house is also a lot more expensive. Specifically, 13% compared to this time last year.
Furnishings, we do perhaps have more local supply of that, but those are things where we've seen a backlog too in terms of supply throughout the pandemic when people start to do some renovations or changing things at home when they're spending more time at home. So there's a little bit of a combination there of increased demand because people are more cognizant or putting more emphasis on perhaps what's going into their homes, and also that reduction in supply and the time it's taking to overcome that again.
When you're picking out your outfit in the morning, you can take a little solace in the fact that the price of clothing is up, but not by a lot. It's increased just 1.5% compared to last year, and the same goes for footwear.
So with clothing and footwear, a lot of that is going to be coming from international trade. Of course, certain countries have experienced even more supply chain disruptions than we have seen in our domestic production. If you can think about also weather events that are happening in countries where textiles are coming from, that would have an impact on supply and reduce what's available to get to market in Canada as well.
Even keeping yourself clean and spiffy costs more, to the tune of 4.5%. But inflation doesn't happen in a silo. The Bank of Canada has been hiking its key interest rates to try and cool red-hot inflation. But with that comes a double whammy for Canadian consumers and businesses when it comes to mortgages and lines of credit.
What higher interest rates does is it reduces how much people want to spend. It reduces demand. And if that's done too quickly or too deeply, it can push things too far in the direction of reducing demand and can knock us into a recession, which is not a desired outcome either.
What's on the financial horizon remains a mixed bag. The last 2 months has seen the overall rate of inflation dip slightly, but the federal finance minister didn't mince words when she said businesses will no longer be booming and there will be some difficult days ahead for Canada's economy. Just how difficult and just how many days remains to be seen.